Hi everyone, I'm Miss Roytblat.
And I'm Miss Alter, and welcome to my Kitchen Science Show. We were just talking about how it's hard to find fun things to do outside in the winter.
Well, I just came in from playing basketball, and I wanted to make a mini bouncy ball for myself that I can play with inside. But the stores are closed and I can't go buy one. I don't know how to make one.
Well, I heard that if you put vinegar in an egg and let it sit for 3 days or so, you can make it bounce.
An egg bounce? No way, that's crazy! See? It cracks.
No. You have to make sure that the egg is soaked in vinegar for a long time before you drop it, silly. The eggshell of a chicken egg is made of calcium carbonate, and vinegar is a weak acid. If you've ever mixed baking soda and vinegar together, you'll know that there's a violent reaction that results. The calcium carbonate that makes up the eggshell will mix with the vinegar in the same way that baking soda reacts with vinegar, just a lot less violently, which is why you need to let the egg sit in the vinegar for at least 3 days.
Oh, that makes sense. Well, I'm feeling a little bit competitive today, so I want to see if I can make a bouncier egg than yours.
How would you do that?
I think I might add some salt and maybe some food coloring to make the egg look cool.
Okay, well, I'm a traditionalist, so I'm not going to fix something that isn't broken. I still think that my egg will bounce for longer than yours.
Okay, Miss Alter, please show me how I can do this experiment.
Okay, well, it's really quite simple. First, you need a cup measure to measure out 1 cup of white vinegar. Do that together. If your vinegar is big like this, you might want a parent to help you measure.
Now, do I just spill it into my cup?
Well, first, let's place the egg at the bottom of your glass.
Do this carefully to make sure it doesn't break. It might help to tilt your cup like I'm doing if you have a long one.
Thank you, Miss Roytblat. Okay, next, very carefully, you're going to tilt your glass just a little bit, and you're going to pour in your 1 cup of vinegar, just so it covers your egg, like this. Now here is the fun part. We get to let it sit and wait for 3 days to see if anything changes to our egg. So I predict that in 3 days, this egg is going to be able to bounce. And right now, I can see that there are bubbles coating the exterior of the egg. If you look closely, you can see that bubbles are rising, so we know that there's a chemical reaction that's happening.
Wow, while this looks pretty cool, I said I was going to be competitive. So if you want to spice it up a little bit, I'm going to have some salt. And I'm going to take a tablespoon measuring tool. I'm just going to take about a tablespoon of salt and pour that into my cup. And the reason I'm doing this is because when I was younger, I used to see my grandpa shine his pennies by mixing vinegar and salt. And there's a chemical reaction that made the penny shiny. So I think that if I want to dissolve the shell faster and better, that the salt will do this for me. So I'm just going to pour that in.
Still gonna win. Haha.
It's kind of sitting at the bottom. Maybe you can just give it a little stir. But
Stirring so you don't break your egg.
That's true. I do have to be very careful. We already saw what happened with this one.
Now you can make scrambled eggs.
Right. And just for a little bit more fun, I'm going to add in some blue food coloring. I'm not really sure what this will do, but I hope it'll make my bouncy ball blue. That's more exciting than Miss Alter's boring white egg. Just gonna drop. Okay, well, a little competition never hurt anyone. Let's check back in a few days to see whose egg bounces for longer.
See you on the court, Miss Roytblat. So far, it's been 24 hours about, and I observe little parts of the shell that are eroding on the egg. You can see that the eggs are both covered in bubbles, and on the tops, there's a lot of foam. So, interesting.
This is a 24-hour update. My observations are that there's lots of bubbles on the surface of the cup. And then when we look at the egg itself, we see lots of air bubbles as well, which tells me that the vinegar is still kind of eating away at the egg. And then I see this big crack in the shell. So I'm not sure if that's, maybe an experimental issue, or if it just kind of cracked because it's being eaten away at. I guess we'll find out when we take it out in 2 days. Hello everyone, and welcome to day 3 of our experiment. So what observations do you have about your egg, Miss Alter?
Well, if you look closely at my egg, you can see on the top of the glass that there was a thin layer of foam. You can also still see bubbles coating the egg, and it seems like the entire shell has dissolved. So the egg has now taken on a light orange color, and I'm excited to see how high it can bounce. How about you, Miss Roytblat?
That looks awesome. Mine actually has a bit of a different result. The shell is actually still on the egg. You can see the crack in the shell. So I think that maybe if I try and rub it off, it will come off fully, but it's interesting to see that yours came off completely and mine didn't. But I also have some foam on top and yeah, some bubbles coating the egg as well. So let's go wash it off. We're gonna put on our aprons so we're all protected.
You're just going to run the egg under the sink, rub it very lightly to see if there's any remnants of a shell left on the egg, and then once you're done, put it in a little bowl and we can get started to test our bounciness.
All right, so we've washed our eggs. So my egg, actually, as you can see, I've rubbed off some of the shell very carefully, just by carefully scraping it, and my fingers are turning blue because of the food coloring. But I just want to show everyone, I'm going to go wash the rest of the eggshell off. So I just came back from washing my egg, and as you can see, I can now see the yolk in the middle, and the eggshell has come off completely. I think in the future, if you are doing food coloring and salt, maybe that changes the chemical reaction. So you can leave it in for another maybe half day, so 12 hours or so, just to get the egg to fully dissolve and wash off easily.
So it's actually very interesting. The egg on the inside, it's not cooked. The reason why it can hold its shell like this is because in between the egg white and the egg shell is a thin membrane, and that membrane hasn't dissolved. So that is what's maintaining its shape. So on the inside, the egg is a liquid, but when you're holding it, it looks like a solid, and it feels like a solid to the touch, except it gives a slight bounce, so you know that it's hollow on the inside.
Yeah, and if you hold it up to the light, it's also kind of translucent. That's why you can see the inner yolk. All right, so let's do a bounce test.
I'm excited.
Me too. So I'm gonna hold the egg around, let's say, an inch above the plate. And let's just see how many times it can bounce. 3, 2, 1. Okay, interesting.
Very bouncy.
I would say mine bounces like 5 times or so.
Mine's still going and I'm bouncing it even higher now.
Yeah. So now we're going to gradually increase the height at which we bounce, and we're going to see whose egg breaks first. I'm scared. Okay, so as we can see, my egg broke. Oh my goodness, and look, you can see actually the membrane itself that exploded. That's the thin part that was holding everything together. How cool.
That's awesome.
Let's see how long it takes for Miss Alter to break her egg.
This one's a powerful one, still going. Oh, egg all over me. It's a good thing I'm wearing an apron.
So I think it's safe to say that Miss Alter won this competition. Although I do think my egg looked cooler.
Where's
But
my
whoa. So some possible reasons why my egg didn't fully dissolve its shell and why it didn't bounce as high and broke earlier could be that the chemicals in the food coloring caused the process to not go as smoothly and didn't break the shell down as well, but also made the membrane thinner. Or perhaps the salt broke the membrane down too much and then slowed the process of the shell breaking down. So if you, as the audience, have any ideas about how to make my egg bounce higher, please leave them in the comments below.
Thank you so much for watching my kitchen science show. Please like and subscribe.
See you next time. Bye.